Florida. The Sunshine State. A land of theme parks, pristine beaches, and endless summers. A paradise where fairy tales seem to come alive in every corner. But beneath the glittering facade of this tropical paradise lies something far darker. Something that dwells in the shadows of abandoned mansions, forgotten parks, and crumbling estates. Tonight, we're descending into the depths of Florida's most haunted locations, places where the line between magic and nightmare has been permanently blurred. These are not the fairy tales you were told as a child. These are the stories nobody wants to remember. The ones whispered late at night. The ones that leave visitors trembling and desperate to escape. But be warned. Some of these tales are so deeply unsettling, you may never look at Florida's most enchanting destinations the same way again. 1. Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp. Hidden among the Spanish moss and cypress trees of Volusia County sits Cassadaga, a town founded in 1894 as a spiritualist haven. On the surface, it seems quaint. Historic homes line peaceful streets. But spiritualism was born from something darker, an obsession with communicating with the dead. And the dead here never quite left. The founders built this community with one purpose: to contact spirits. They succeeded, perhaps too well. Visitors report being followed by unseen presences through the winding streets. Guests at the historic Cassadaga Hotel described shadow figures gliding through hallways, doors slamming of their own accord, and the unmistakable sound of phantom footsteps echoing through empty corridors at midnight. One visitor swore she felt icy hands grab her shoulders while touring the spiritualist temple, hands that vanished the moment she spun around. The most chilling account comes from a paranormal investigator who spent a night in the cemetery. As moonlight filtered through the trees, he photographed what appeared to be dozens of translucent figures standing among the graves. When he looked at the images later, each spirit seemed to be staring directly at his camera. Directly at him. To this day, the residents of Cassadaga insist that the veil between worlds grows paper thin after sunset. And something on the other side is always listening. 2. Devil's Chair. At Cassadaga Cemetery, just beyond the borders of Cassadaga, lies a cemetery monument so sinister it has earned its own dark reputation. The Devil's Chair, an ornate stone seat in Cassadaga Cemetery, positioned at the grave of a woman named Annabelle Parkerson. Local legend says that anyone foolish enough to sit in that chair will be cursed. They will be dragged to hell by demonic forces. But the legend didn't stop people from trying. Those who have sat and lived to tell the tale describe overwhelming dread that seized their bodies the moment contact was made. A woman who sat there in 2014 claimed that she immediately heard demonic whispers surrounding her, saw shadowy hands reaching from the earth below. She fled screaming, convinced she was being pulled downward. Within months, she was dead. A sudden, unexplained heart attack. Another visitor, a skeptic, scoffed at the warnings and positioned himself in the chair for a photo. The image shows him smiling. But in the background, a darkness hovers directly above him, a shadow with no discernible source. 3 weeks later, he was hospitalized with a mysterious illness that doctors could never identify. He survived, but barely. The chair remains, unchanged and moved. An invitation. A warning. 3. St. Augustine's Castillo de San Marcos, the oldest fortified settlement in the continental United States, stands in St. Augustine. The Castillo de San Marcos, an imposing, centuries-old fortress that tourists visit by the thousands every year, never knowing the horrors embedded in its ancient stone. This is a place where soldiers died by the hundreds, where prisoners were tortured, where the screams of the dying seeped into the very walls and have never quite stopped echoing. Visitors and staff report witnessing full-bodied apparitions of soldiers in Spanish colonial uniforms, materializing in the casemates before vanishing into the walls. The smell of gunpowder fills certain corridors, a scent that shouldn't exist in a museum. And then there are the sounds. The unmistakable clash of swords, the thunder of cannon fire, and underneath it all, the anguished cries of men experiencing their final moments over and over again, trapped in an eternal loop of violence. One visitor described descending into the casemates at dusk and being confronted by what appeared to be a soldier from the 1700s, his uniform stained with blood, his eyes hollow with suffering. The figure raised a hand as if to speak, and then the temperature plummeted. Frost crystallized on the stone walls in the Florida heat. The visitor ran. The Castillo de San Marcos doesn't just house the dead. It holds them captive. And they're still fighting for. Cassina Garden at Lake Acreage. In the quiet town of Lake Acreage, a historic manor once stood, a fairy tale estate called Cassina Garden. Built in the early 1900s, it became the site of unspeakable tragedy. A prominent family lived there. Then, on a summer evening in 1923, a woman was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Some say murder. Some say suicide. But the woman never left. Today, only ruins remain. Crumbling stone, overgrown gardens, and a presence that locals know better than to disturb. Paranormal investigators who have ventured there report seeing a woman in a white gown wandering through the ruins, appearing and disappearing like mist. She walks the same path every night, as if searching for something lost. Visitors have captured voice recordings in those ruins. A woman's voice, crying, saying the same thing over and over, "I didn't do it. I didn't do it." The anguish in her voice is unmistakable, raw, a torment that transcends death itself. The gardens were once beautiful. Now, they are a place of sorrow. And that sorrow has roots too deep to ever be uprooted. 5. The Seminole Rest, spirits of Crystal River. In the misty waters of Crystal River, a place of haunting natural beauty, something darker stirs beneath the surface. The area was once inhabited by Seminole tribespeople driven from their lands, hunted, their culture systematically destroyed. The echoes of that suffering permeate the landscape. Local boat captains refuse certain routes through the crystal-clear springs, claiming they've witnessed phantom warriors on the water, gliding silently through fog that shouldn't exist. Swimmers have reported emerging from the water with no memory of how they got there, hours lost to time itself. One tour guide described taking a group into a submerged cave when the water suddenly turned ice cold. And a mournful wail emanated from deep within the earth, a sound that belonged to no living creature. His clients fled the water in terror. He quit his job that day and never returned. The beauty of Crystal River masks an ancient pain. A land cursed by displacement, by broken promises, by the blood of a people who refuse to be forgotten. The spirits here are not malevolent. They are simply present, waiting, remembering. Outro. You've journeyed through spiritualist camps where the veil between worlds grows thin. You've stood before a cursed chair that devours the souls of the foolish. You've walked the blood-soaked halls of centuries-old fortifications. You've witnessed the eternal sorrow of a woman trapped in ruins, forever searching. And you've heard the mournful cries of a displaced people, rising from the depths of haunted waters. These are the fairy tales of Florida, not the magic we want to believe in, but the magic that refuses to be ignored. So, we ask you, would you dare to visit any of these locations, or will you heed the warnings and keep your distance? Let us know in the comments which of these tales chilled you most. If these stories sent shivers down your spine, give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone brave enough to hear the truth. Subscribe to Ghostly Tales and hit that notification bell so you never miss another descent into the darkness. Until next time, may your nights be peaceful. And may you never sit in the devil's chair.